Thank you for joining us on Oh Mama, Are We Doing This Right? I have my friend Rachel, who's married with a 2-year-old, and she's currently pregnant. And you are due, when are you due?
August 13th, so around 3 weeks from now.
And that is your 39 gestational, because you're having a C-section, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's gestational. I think it's just 39 weeks. They like to do a C-section around that time. So it's exactly 39 weeks.
Oh, okay. Got it. I don't know all the lingo, okay?
I don't know either. Coming at me with these fancy terms, but that's 39 weeks.
I felt like after my first pregnancy, I felt so confident because I was like, oh, I know so much going into my second pregnancy. And then all these new terms came up, or like something changed, or I felt like I knew something, but I didn't really know it. And it's so, there's just so much to learn. It's so confusing.
For sure. Yeah. And that's exciting because yours is right after mine too.
I know, like a few weeks, because our C-section is scheduled, it's tentatively scheduled for September 7th.
Yeah. I will be here soon.
I know. So we're both going to be having babies around the same time. Finally, we're pregnant together.
Yeah. And both having boys.
Yes. Which is exciting.
For sure.
So they'll be forced to be friends.
Sure. We're already setting up play dates.
Yes.
Already planning all the things.
And hopefully we don't have to force a friendship and they just like each
other. 100%.
That would be ideal.
For sure.
All right. So I'm going to start by asking you some questions because I had some unpredictable things come up in my last OB appointment about my new C-section and how some things have changed. Has this C-section that's been planned, like your plan itself or your doctor's plan, is it any different than your previous one, or is it kind of the same sort of routine that they've prepared you for?
Yeah, I would say for the most part, it's very similar. It's a different doctor this time because my previous one quit doing OB services. So it's a different doctor, same hospital, but everything like that seems to be the same. The thing that keeps changing are like COVID protocols for the hospital. I feel like that changes kind of weekly, so it's hard to predict what to tell my family, if they can actually come visit while we're in the hospital or not. That's kind of up in the air. And then I may ask the doctor to do a different suture that my friend apparently had this doctor do, and she thinks her scar looks better this time around than it did previously, which I didn't even know that was an option. So I may
They don't tell you
more about that.
Why did they not tell us that there's these options and you have to research it on your own?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, the first time around, it was just like the stitches that dissolve like on their own, which I guess is like the easiest way to like have a scar and like take care of it and whatnot. But if there's like a way to make it look better, I'm like, sign me up.
Well, yeah, no kidding. My first one was the dissolvable sutures as well.
Yeah.
And they couldn't get Steely out because he really was only 8 pounds 9 ounces, but he was too big for my body. And so they ended up ripping the incision, and then I think they did an extra cut because it's like it looks like a cut and then it looks like an additional like off to one.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I'll have to ask I had to have a new OB this time too, and because my OB decided to go do, well, she's still doing gyno, but she's doing fertility now at a different clinic. And she recommended her partner, one of her partners in the practice, 2 of them. And I chose this one because she supposedly is, I don't know, she specializes in like robotics with pregnancy or something, but it's mostly surgery. And so she said she has a really good, makes really clean lines, and she said she'd be the best for the actual visual surgery afterwards. So I'll have to ask about these suture options. So what is the difference? They just stitch it up different or use different material?
I don't know all the specifics. I think my girlfriend that was telling me about it was saying that like you have to like remove something yourself or like have someone help you maybe like a week or so after. which I don't want to know all those details. I mean, it's good to know, but I'm better off not knowing all the nitty gritty stuff or like medical necessities. So I don't know. I'll probably talk to my doctor closer to the date and like see if I really want to go that route or not, depending on what it entails.
Yeah. I'm surprised you haven't asked the question yet because you're such a, your sister and I were talking about this yesterday, how we are very similar in the sense of like, we love being organized, we like planning, we like definitive times,
Yeah.
dates and answers, and we're researchers and all that stuff. But you're on another level of me.
Sometimes I feel like it's hard with a toddler, like
yeah,
being in this mindset of like planning for this pregnancy. It's just like time flies and you forget to ask questions in the moment because you're just so scatterbrained as it is. So I think it's like a little bit of that, but that's also like one thing I love about a C-section is like it is a scheduled surgery. Not to say that like a baby can't come sooner on their own, but like in my mind I have a date and a time. I'm not just like letting nature do its course.
totally. Has your doctor expressed any concern about the possibility or shared the possibility of the baby coming in any sooner than the due date?
No.
Mine has.
Oh wow.
Which I'm terrified about. So I'm like, please don't come early. Because I don't want to have an emergency C-section.
Yeah.
Because I can't physically have this child with my anatomy, with how big he is. Oh, okay. So when I went to the doctor, my last checkup, she was like, oh, I just want to let you know that there's new protocols that all the hospitals are implementing. And I don't know if St. David's is the first one, because you're delivering at Seton, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm delivering at St. David's. And she said that the new protocol is that they would like women or C-section patients, moms, to recover faster. So they're implementing some things that have been implemented like overseas and whatever already from what my research was. And they're allowing clear liquids morning of surgery. They are, I don't know if they're making you, I need to confirm this because I'm a little bit nervous about this. She said that you have to drink what is the drink that you drink when you get your gestational or the diabetes test?
I know what it is. I don't know what it's called.
Okay. So she basically said, I don't know, that my mind just blanked on that. But anyways, she said you have to drink that 2 hours before your surgery now because it expedites your recovery or something. It jumpstarts your system. I'm like,
that's so random.
I know, it sounds weird. So those were 2 things before surgery. And then after surgery, she said they're giving you less pain medication and different kinds of pain medication, I guess, which I'm totally fine with. I guess I'm really questioning the glucose drink. That's what it's called.
Yeah, like, that's interesting because I was there Tuesday. They didn't mention any of that, so I don't know.
So your hospital must not be doing that, at least yet.
Yeah, and I'm seeing them weekly now, so maybe it's just a hospital thing.
Well, she also did fill me in on, because she could tell how skeptical I was in my tone, because my baby's so big, she's like, there's 2 she gave me like 2 little scare tactics, basically. That's probably not the right terminology, but she said, there's 2 possibilities that your son could go into the NICU. And I was like, what? Like, you think of the NICU and you think of small, sick babies, right?
Yeah.
She's like, because he's so big, measuring in the 97th percentile, because he's so big, he could come out with diabetes. And I was like, well, I don't have it. And I didn't get gestational diabetes this time. And I'm questioning, I'm like, well, if I'm drinking this sugar drink 2 hours before I deliver, and then you prick his finger when he comes out, isn't he going to look like he has diabetes?
That is strange.
So
I have no idea how any of that would work. That is so random.
Yeah, so I need to ask a lot more questions. I don't feel confident in that. And then the other thing was, she said, because and I don't know if your doctor told you this, because mine definitely didn't tell me this before getting pregnant again or planning pregnancy or before this point, which I feel like there's plenty of time to share this information.
Right.
When you have 2 C-sections, especially close together, like within a 2-year span, I guess she said, there are chances of your uterus not contracting enough because it hasn't fully recovered. And so it doesn't pump all the fluids out of the lungs before or while the baby's being born. And so they can also go to the NICU for that. And I'm like, what?
News to me. I have no idea.
And I'm wondering, because they just got by a new practice and they've kind of been on this like role of oversharing information, that I'm like, is she just like
covering her butt?
Or
I don't know.
Yeah, or has she been told like you have to tell everyone all of these possibilities? Yeah. But then I was like, this doesn't sound right. And she's like, well,
do you think that they would share that like whenever you're like initially talking about like a birth plan in general, or like the possibility of like scheduling a C-section?
Yes, because they encouraged me to have another C-section with the genetics of my child and my size. And I just felt like really kind of deceived after that appointment, because I was like, that just seems like information that you should know before planning. So, well, that does actually kind of make me feel better that you haven't heard any of that, because it seemed a little off to me.
Yeah, definitely ask more questions. Maybe write them down before the doctor's appointment so you don't forget.
Oh, I have.
Like, that's always my problem. I'm like, I knew I had something to ask you, but I can't remember it now.
Oh, I have a running list in my notes on my phone. I always have a running list. So, yeah, those were the 2 things. But she did say, I'm not supposed to tell you this.
Oh, God.
Which I'm not going to tell you who my doctor is, because that would be, I can't probably share that at this point now. But she was like, the hospital that you're delivering at is, which now I've already said St. David's. The hospital that you're delivering.
At least there's multiple ones, so there's not only one. So, you know.
It's a very conservative hospital. It's one of the best hospitals. You know, Austin has great hospitals. One of the best hospitals. She said, because it is so conservative, the doctors are overly cautious, which can be really good in some ways. And in other ways, they admit a lot more patients or NICU patients than any of the other hospitals, supposedly. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird, because, you know, Celia's in the NICU for precautionary reasons as well.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do they get out of it? She's like, they make a lot of money off of each NICU patient. And I was like, that's kind of messed up.
Yeah. That is weird. Like, your doctor told you that?
Yes.
That's a really strange thing to say.
I know, I was thankful that she was honest, but at the same time,
but you're also like going to be second guessing any possibility of like him potentially going into the NICU for valid reasons or not.
Exactly. That's kind of where I'm at right now. So
yeah. Wow. Well, sending all the positive vibes your way. That's pretty crazy. I'd be like, what? Leaving that doctor's appointment.
I know, I was feeling kind of mostly confident with my new doctor and the whole process and whatever, until that last appointment. And I was like, I feel so scared and unprepared and confused.
Yeah.